Jake Morrison walked into the big meeting room at the United Nations building. His black military uniform had many medals on it. He had fought in 3 wars on Earth before aliens came to visit humans. Now he had to make the most important decision in human history. The room was full of important people from every country on Earth. Presidents, generals, and scientists sat around a huge table. In the middle of the room, a blue light made the shape of an alien. The alien looked like a giant lizard that could walk on 2 legs. Its skin was green and shiny. Its eyes were big and yellow. "Hello, humans," the alien said. Its voice sounded like metal scraping against metal. "I am Ambassador Cathvar from the Galactic Federation. We need your help in our war against the Zephyrian Empire." Maria Lopez, the leader of the United Nations, leaned forward in her chair. She was a small woman, but everyone respected her. "Tell us about this war, Ambassador." The alien's neck grew bigger like a snake when it was angry. "The Zephyrians are evil. They attack planets and kill everyone who lives there. They have destroyed 17 star systems already. Billions of people are dead because of them." Jake looked around the room. He saw fear in many faces. Humans had only learned about aliens 5 years ago. Before that, people thought Earth was alone in the universe. Now they knew the galaxy was full of different species and most of them were fighting each other. "What do you want from us?" asked Dr. Alex Carter. He was Earth's smartest person when it came to studying aliens. He had learned to speak 12 different alien languages. "We want your ships and your soldiers," Cathvar said. "Humans are good fighters. We have seen your history. You know how to win wars." Jake stood up. Everyone in the room looked at him. He was tall and strong, with gray hair and scars on his face from old battles. "Ambassador Cathvar, Earth thanks you for this information, but we cannot help you in this war." The alien's yellow eyes got very wide. "What do you mean?" "The Zephyrians will not stop. They will come for Earth eventually." "Maybe they will," Jake said. "But Earth has decided to stay neutral. We will not fight in someone else's war." General Lisa Barnes nodded her head. She was the leader of Earth's Space Defense Force. Her job was to protect Earth from attacks. "We have studied both sides of your war, Ambassador. The Federation and the Zephyrians have both done terrible things. We cannot choose between you." Maria Lopez stood up next to Jake. "Earth has seen too much war. Our planet has had thousands of wars. Millions of people have died fighting each other. We decided 50 years ago that we would not start wars anymore. We want to explore space and learn new things, not destroy other planets." The alien made a sound like a snake hissing. "You do not understand. This is not a choice. If you do not fight with us, you will fight alone when the Zephyrians come for you." Dr. Carter pulled up pictures on the big screen behind him. The pictures showed space battles between alien ships. Huge explosions lit up the darkness. Ships as big as cities burned and broke apart. "We have seen what your war looks like, Ambassador. Both sides use weapons that can destroy entire planets. Both sides kill prisoners. Both sides attack civilians. This is not the kind of war Earth wants to be part of." Jake walked closer to the alien hologram. "We understand that you think we are making a mistake. But humans have learned something important from our history. Wars always grow bigger. They always kill more people than anyone expects. They always last longer than anyone wants." "But the Zephyrians," the alien started to say. "Will be stopped by someone," Jake interrupted, "but not by us. Earth chooses peace. We will use our ships to explore. We will use our soldiers to protect our own people. We will use our weapons to defend ourselves if we have to, but we will not attack anyone." The alien's hologram flickered. It was getting angry. "You are fools. The galaxy is not a safe place. Peace is something that weak species believe in before they die." Lisa Barnes smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "Ambassador, humans are not weak. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that killed hundreds of millions of people. We have learned that the strongest thing is not the biggest gun. The strongest thing is knowing when not to use the gun." Other leaders in the room started to speak. The president of China agreed with Jake. The prime minister of India said Earth should focus on science, not war. The president of Brazil said South America had learned that peace was better than fighting. One by one, every leader said the same thing. Earth would not join the war. Ambassador Cathvar's neck grew even bigger. His skin changed from green to red. "This is a mistake that will cost you everything. When the Zephyrians come to your solar system, do not ask the Federation for help. You have chosen to be alone." "We have chosen to be free," Maria Lopez said quietly. "Free to make our own choices. Free to live our own way. Free to decide our own future." The alien hologram started to fade away. The Federation will remember this day. When your planet burns, remember that you could have prevented it. The hologram disappeared. The room was quiet for a long time. Finally, Jake spoke. Everyone in this room knows we are taking a big risk. The aliens might be right. The Zephyrians might come for Earth someday. But we are also taking a chance on something better. Dr. Carter looked worried. What if they come with 1,000 ships? What if our defenses are not enough? Then we will fight, Lisa Barnes said. But we will fight for our own reasons. We will fight to protect our families and our freedom. We will not fight because someone else told us to. Jake looked out the window at the city below. Millions of people were living their lives, not knowing that their leaders had just made a decision that could save or destroy them all. Humans have always been explorers. We crossed oceans when we thought they were endless. We went to the moon when everyone said it was impossible. We will find our own way among the stars. The meeting ended, but Jake stayed in the room for a long time. He wondered if they had made the right choice. He wondered if Earth would survive what was coming. But he also knew that humans had always been stronger when they fought for themselves, not for others. Time would tell if that strength would be enough. Captain Steve Parker floated in his chair on the bridge of the Earthship New Horizon. 6 months had passed since Earth said no to the alien war. Life seemed normal again. People went to work, children went to school, and scientists explored space like always. Steve was 42 years old and had been flying spaceships for 20 years. He had traveled to more star systems than any other human pilot. The New Horizon was his home. It was not a warship. It was built for exploration and discovery. The ship carried the best scientists Earth had trained to study alien worlds. "Captain, we are getting close to the Kepler 442 system," said Dr. Amy Foster. She was the chief science officer on the ship. Amy was only 30 years old, but she was the smartest person Steve had ever met. She could solve problems that confused much older scientists. "What do we know about this system?" Steve asked. He was looking at the stars outside the window. Space always looked peaceful, but he knew it was full of dangers. Lieutenant Dan Brooks answered from his station. Dan was in charge of communications and navigation. He was a quiet man who rarely made mistakes. "The system has 1 star like our sun and 6 planets. No life has been detected. The Federation explored it 50 years ago and found nothing interesting." Amy checked her instruments. "Wait, Captain. I'm reading something strange. There are energy signals coming from the asteroid belt around the 4th planet. The signals do not match any known technology." Steve moved to Amy's station to look at her screen. Numbers and graphs showed unusual patterns. "Could it be natural? Maybe some kind of mineral that gives off energy?" "I do not think so," Amy said. She looked worried. "The patterns are too regular. This looks like technology, but it is not Federation or Zephyrian. At least it does not match anything in our database." Dan turned around in his chair. "Captain, we are 7 light years from the nearest Federation base. If there is unknown technology here, we should be very careful." Steve nodded. "Take us in slowly. Full sensors. If we see anything dangerous, we leave immediately." The New Horizon moved toward the asteroid belt. The ship's powerful sensors scanned every rock and piece of ice. For 2 hours, they found nothing. Then Amy made a discovery that changed everything. "Captain, you need to see this," Amy said. Her voice was shaking. "There is something hidden behind the largest asteroid. It is huge." The main screen showed what the sensors had found. Hidden in the shadow of a giant asteroid was a construction site bigger than any human city. Dozens of alien ships moved between metal frameworks that stretched for hundreds of miles. Half-built spaceships floated in the darkness like sleeping giants. "My God," whispered Kate Williams. She was the ship's engineer and had designed some of Earth's fastest spaceships. "Those ships are enormous. They are 5 times bigger than anything we have ever built." Steve stared at the screen. The ships being built looked nothing like Federation vessels. They were dark and angular, covered with weapon systems and armor plating. "Amy, can you identify the technology? Who is building these ships?" Amy worked frantically at her console. After several minutes, she looked up with fear in her eyes. "Captain, this is Zephyrian technology, but it is more advanced than anything in our intelligence reports. These ships are not just warships. Look at the cargo holds and life support systems." Kate studied the ship designs on her screen. "These are not built for space battles. They are built for invasion. Look at the troop compartments, the planetary bombardment weapons, the colonization equipment. These ships are designed to attack and occupy planets." Dan was monitoring long-range communications. "Captain, I am picking up encrypted transmissions between the ships. The signals are definitely Zephyrian, but I cannot decode them. Steve felt cold fear growing in his stomach. Amy, how many ships are they building? I count at least 200 ships in various stages of construction. Based on the size of the facility, they could build 1,000 ships here. Kate was analyzing the ship specifications. Captain, these ships have incredible range. They could travel across the entire galaxy without refueling. And look at these navigation systems. Amy gasped as she studied Kate's data. Steve, I have calculated the maximum range of these ships. They can reach Earth. The bridge went silent. Everyone stared at the evidence on their screens. The Zephyrians were not just fighting the Federation. They were building an invasion fleet that could attack any planet in the galaxy, including Earth. How long before these ships are finished? Steve asked quietly. Kate examined the construction progress. Based on what I can see, they will complete the first wave of ships in about 18 months. The entire fleet will be ready in 3 years. Dan looked up from his communication station. Captain, I have been monitoring their traffic patterns. The finished ships are not staying here. They are leaving for other systems. I think this is just one of many construction sites. Amy's hands were shaking as she worked. If this is true, the Zephyrians are not just expanding their territory. They are preparing to conquer the entire galaxy. Steve made a decision that would change human history. Dan, prepare an emergency transmission to Earth Command. Priority Alpha encryption. We need to get this information home immediately. What should I tell them? Dan asked. Tell them that Earth's neutrality will not protect us. The Zephyrians are coming whether we fight in their war or not. We need to prepare for invasion. Kate was still studying the alien ships. Captain, there is something else. These ships are designed with one purpose in mind. They are not built to capture planets and rule them. They are built to destroy everything on the planet and replace it with Zephyrian colonies. Amy nodded grimly. The Federation was right about one thing. The Zephyrians do not want to conquer other species. They want to eliminate them. As the New Horizon prepared to leave the system, Steve looked one last time at the massive construction site. Hundreds of ships that could destroy Earth were being built in secret. The aliens had been planning this invasion for years, maybe decades. Dan, how long will it take us to get home? At maximum speed, 6 weeks, Captain. Then, we had better hope that 6 weeks is enough time for Earth to prepare. Steve knew that their peaceful exploration mission had just become a race to save humanity. The New Horizon turned away from the asteroid belt and jumped to faster than light speed. Behind them, the Zephyrian shipyard continued its deadly work, building the tools that would bring war to Earth whether Earth wanted war or not. Steve had spent his career exploring the wonders of space. Now he had discovered that space was full of enemies who wanted to destroy everything he loved. The age of human innocence among the stars was over. The video message from Captain Steve Parker arrived at Earth Command on a Tuesday morning. Admiral Jake Morrison was drinking coffee in his office when his secretary told him about the emergency transmission. By Tuesday afternoon, every world leader was watching the footage of the secret Zephyrian shipyard. President Helen Carter called an emergency meeting for Wednesday morning. She was the first woman to be president of the United States, and many people said she was the smartest person to ever have the job. Now she had to make decisions that would determine if humanity survived. The meeting took place in a secret room deep underground in Washington. Representatives from every major country sat around a huge table. Military leaders, scientists, and intelligence officers filled the other chairs. The room had no windows, and the walls were thick enough to stop nuclear weapons. Jake Morrison stood at the front of the room. He had been promoted to admiral after Earth refused to join the Galactic War. His job was to protect the entire planet, not just one country. Ladies and gentlemen, the situation has changed. Our neutrality was supposed to keep us safe. Instead, it just gave the Zephyrians time to prepare for our destruction. General Lisa Barnes activated a holographic display that showed the alien shipyard. The massive ships under construction looked like instruments of death. Intelligence estimates that these invasion ships will be completed in 18 months. At their maximum speed, they could reach Earth in 2 years. President Carter leaned forward. Admiral Morrison, what are our current defenses? Inadequate, Jake answered honestly. We have 47 ships designed for exploration and light patrol duties. The Zephyrians are building ships that are 5 times larger and armed with weapons we cannot match. Dr. Alex Carter raised his hand. He had become Earth's leading expert on alien technology, after studying captured equipment for 2 years. Mr. President, we are not completely helpless. We have been studying both Federation and Zephyrian technology. We have learned things that could help us. What kind of things? Asked General Liu Wei, the commander of China's space forces. Dr. Carter stood up and walked to the holographic display. Both alien species fight in very predictable ways. They use the same tactics that worked for them hundreds of years ago. They do not adapt quickly to new situations. Humans are different. We change our tactics constantly. We improvise. We think of solutions that computers cannot predict. Jake nodded. Dr. Carter is right. But we need more than clever tactics. We need ships, weapons, and trained crews. Right now, we do not have enough of any of those things. President Carter looked around the room. What do you recommend, Admiral? We implement Operation Shield Wall, Jake said. Every shipyard on Earth and in our colonies stops building civilian ships and starts building warships. Every factory that can make weapons or armor gets converted immediately. Every person with technical skills gets trained for military service. The president of Brazil looked worried. Admiral, that would mean stopping all civilian space travel. Our economy depends on trade with our colonies. Our economy will not matter if we are all dead, Jake replied bluntly. The Zephyrians do not want to rule us. They want to replace us. Every human in the galaxy will be killed if they succeed. General Barnes pulled up another display showing Earth's colonies. We have 12 million people living in 15 different star systems. Most of our colonies are mining operations or research stations. They have no military defenses. Lisa Chen, who was in charge of colonial affairs, asked the question everyone was thinking. Can we defend the colonies? Jake shook his head. No, we have to make a terrible choice. We evacuate the colonies that can be evacuated. The ones that cannot be evacuated will have to defend themselves with whatever weapons we can give them, but our main effort has to be defending Earth. The room was quiet for several minutes. Everyone understood what Jake was saying. Millions of people would be abandoned to save billions of people. Dr. Carter broke the silence. There is something else we need to consider. The Zephyrians have never fought humans before. They have studied our history, but they have never experienced human warfare firsthand. That gives us an advantage. What do you mean? Asked the Prime Minister of India. Human military doctrine is based on winning wars against enemies who are stronger than us. We have been doing it for thousands of years. We use speed instead of strength. We use intelligence instead of brute force. We sacrifice small groups to save larger groups. Most alien species cannot understand this kind of thinking. Jake walked to the window that showed a view of the Earth's surface. Cities covered the continents, and lights showed where millions of people lived their daily lives. We are asking every person on Earth to change their life completely. Factories will work 24 hours a day. Schools will teach military skills instead of regular subjects. Every family will have to send their children to fight in a war they did not choose. President Carter joined him at the window. Do we have any choice? No, Jake said. The Zephyrians made this choice for us when they decided to build their invasion fleet. Now we have to live with the consequences. Over the next 6 months, Earth transformed itself into a military fortress. Car factories started building spacecraft engines. Computer companies designed targeting systems for weapons. Universities developed new types of armor and shields. The entire planet became focused on one goal: survival. The Volunteer Defense Corps was created to train civilians for space combat. Truck drivers learned to pilot fighter ships. Engineers learned to repair battle damage. Doctors learned to treat radiation burns and laser wounds. Even children as young as 16 could volunteer for technical support roles. Jake Morrison visited training facilities around the world. He saw farmers learning to operate missile systems. He saw teachers practicing emergency repairs on spaceships. He saw grandparents building ammunition in factories that used to make toys. Are we doing the right thing? General Barnes asked him one evening as they watched new recruits practice combat maneuvers. Jake was quiet for a long time. I do not know if we are doing the right thing, but I know we are doing the only thing we can do. The Zephyrians gave us 2 choices, fight or die. We chose to fight. Dr. Carter approached them with a tablet showing the latest production reports. Admiral, we will have 72 warships ready when the invasion begins. It is not enough to match their numbers, but it might be enough to give them a fight they do not expect. Jake looked at the young people training for a war that would determine the fate of their species. Some of them would die. Many of them would die. But their sacrifice might save everyone else. The Zephyrians think humans are just another weak species that will surrender when faced with superior force, Jake said. They are about to learn that humans do not surrender. We do not give up, and we do not forgive enemies who threaten our families. Earth was getting ready for the greatest battle in human history. The outcome would determine whether humanity had a future among the stars or became another extinct species that the Zephyrians had eliminated. 2 years and 3 months after Captain Steve Parker discovered the secret shipyard, the long-range sensors around Earth detected something that made every human's blood run cold. Hundreds of massive ships were entering the solar system, moving toward Earth like a swarm of metal locusts. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Terra Defiant, Earth's new flagship. The ship was the largest and most powerful vessel humans had ever built, but it was still smaller than the smallest Zephyrian warship. Through the windows, Jake could see the other Earth defense ships taking their positions around the planet. "Fleet status report," Jake ordered. His voice was calm, but everyone on the bridge could feel the tension. Captain Kelly Adams looked up from her tactical station. She was 35 years old and had been promoted from lieutenant to captain during the military buildup. "Admiral, all 72 ships are in position. The orbital defense platforms are online. The planetary shield generators are at full power." Jake nodded. Earth had spent 2 years preparing for this moment. Every factory had worked without stopping. Every person had contributed something to the defense effort. Children had collected scrap metal. Old people had worked in ammunition plants. Everyone had done their part. General Ryan Cross appeared on the communication screen. He was commanding the ground-based defenses from a bunker deep under the Rocky Mountains. "Admiral, all surface installations are ready. We have missile batteries on every continent and defense shields protecting every major city." The Zephyrian fleet moved through space with frightening confidence. Their ships were enormous, dark, and covered with weapons that could destroy entire moons. There were 300 invasion ships supported by 500 smaller warships. It was the largest military force ever assembled in the galaxy. "Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the lead enemy vessel," announced Beth Sullivan, the communications officer. She was young and scared, but she had trained for this moment for 18 months. "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The screen flickered to life, showing the most terrifying creature Jake had ever seen. The Zephyrian commander was 7 feet tall with black metallic scales that reflected the bridge lights. Its eyes glowed yellow like burning coals, and its mouth was full of sharp teeth designed for tearing flesh. "Humans of Earth," the alien said in a voice like grinding metal. "I am war leader Thaxron of the Zephyrian Empire. You will surrender your planet immediately, or we will take it by force. Your Federation allies cannot help you here." Jake stepped forward so the alien could see him clearly. He wore his best uniform with all his medals, but he knew they meant nothing to this creature. "War leader Thaxron, this is Admiral Jake Morrison of Earth Defense Command. We have no Federation allies. We never joined their war. We are here to defend our home." The alien's neck frill expanded, which Jake knew meant it was amused. Human intelligence had learned to read Zephyrian body language during the past 2 years. "Your small fleet cannot stand against our armada. We have conquered civilizations far more advanced than yours. We destroyed the Altarian Empire in 6 days. We eliminated the Vegan Republic in 3 weeks. You will not last 3 hours." "Maybe not," Jake replied. "But you have never fought humans before. We do things differently than other species." Thaxron made a sound that might have been laughter. "All organic species fight the same way. They form lines, they fire their weapons, and they die when they realize they cannot win. You will do the same." Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "War leader, you're about to learn something important about humans. We do not fight fair. We do not follow rules, and we never ever give up." The alien's expression changed slightly. For the first time, it looked uncertain. "What do you mean?" "You will find out," Jake said. Then he made a gesture to Beth, who cut the transmission. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Everyone knew that the talking was over. Now came the fighting. Jake turned to his crew. "All ships, this is Terra Defiant. Today we fight for more than just our planet. We fight for the right of humanity to exist among the stars. We fight for our children and their children. We fight so that free people everywhere will know that tyranny can be defeated." Captain Adams activated the fleet communications. "All units execute Operation Hornet's Nest." The Zephyrians expected Earth's ships to form traditional battle lines and exchange fire at long range. Instead, the human fleet scattered in all directions like a flock of birds. Small groups of ships used the asteroids and debris around Earth as cover. Others hid behind the moon or the larger satellites. War leader Thaxron watched this unusual deployment from his command ship. What are they doing? This is not how space battles are fought. His tactical officer studied the human movements. War leader, they appear to be avoiding direct confrontation. Perhaps they are trying to delay us while they evacuate their planet. Then we will destroy them quickly and move on to the surface, Thaxron ordered. All ships attack formation. Eliminate the human vessels. The Zephyrian fleet moved forward in perfect formation, just as they had done in hundreds of previous battles. Their ships were arranged in precise geometric patterns that maximized their firepower while minimizing their vulnerability to enemy attacks. But the humans did not attack the formation directly. Instead, they struck from unexpected angles using tactics that no alien computer could predict. Small groups of human ships would appear suddenly, fire everything they had at a single Zephyrian vessel, then disappear before the enemy could respond. Commander Nicole Grant led Phoenix Squadron in the first attack. Her 12 fighters came out of the asteroid belt at maximum speed, targeted the engines of a Zephyrian cruiser, and destroyed them before vanishing back into the rocks. Phoenix Squadron to all units, Nicole reported over the radio. Enemy ship disabled. Moving to secondary target. The Zephyrians tried to respond, but they could not target enemies that refused to stay in one place. Their weapons were designed for fighting other aliens who used predictable tactics. Human tactics made no sense to them. How are they moving so fast? Thaxron demanded. Their ships are inferior to ours. War leader, they are not using standard maneuvering patterns. They appear to be improvising their movements in real time. Our targeting computers cannot predict where they will be, Colonel. Brad Mitchell commanded the surface defenses as Zephyrian dropships, tried to land troops on Earth, the aliens expected, to face fixed fortifications that they could destroy with their superior firepower. Instead, they found that humans had learned to make their defenses mobile. All units execute Plan Grasshopper, Brad ordered over his radio. Hit them and move. Do not stay in one place longer than 60 seconds. Human missile trucks fired at the dropships, then immediately moved to new locations. Infantry teams with portable anti-aircraft weapons appeared from hidden positions, destroyed enemy vehicles, then disappeared underground through tunnel systems that had been built specifically for this battle. The Zephyrians had never encountered an enemy that fought this way. In their previous conquests, enemy forces had stood and fought until they were destroyed. Human forces seemed to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. As the first day of battle ended, both sides counted their losses. The humans had lost 15 ships and taken heavy casualties on the ground. But they had also destroyed 30 Zephyrian vessels and prevented any successful landings. In his command bunker, Jake Morrison reviewed the battle reports. How are we doing, Kelly? Captain Adams looked exhausted, but her voice was steady. Better than expected, Admiral. The enemy is having trouble adapting to our tactics, but they are learning. Tomorrow will be harder. Jake nodded. He knew that humans could not win a long battle against superior numbers and technology, but they did not need to win. They just needed to make the cost of victory so high that the Zephyrians would decide to look for easier targets. Outside, the battle for Earth continued through the night as human defenders fought to save their world from an enemy that had never known defeat. The Battle of Sol had been raging for 6 days and both sides were exhausted. The space around Earth was filled with the wreckage of destroyed ships. Pieces of metal and debris created a deadly obstacle course that made flying dangerous for everyone. Admiral Jake Morrison had not slept for 48 hours. His eyes were red and his hands shook from too much coffee, but his voice was still strong when he gave orders. The Terra Defiant had taken heavy damage and half of Earth's fleet was gone, but the remaining ships continued to fight. Status report, Jake said as he walked onto the bridge. Captain Kelly Adams was bandaged where shrapnel had cut her arm during yesterday's battle. We have 37 ships still fighting, Kelly reported. The Zephyrians have lost about 100 ships, but they still outnumber us 3-1. Their ground forces have established 3 beachheads, but Colonel Mitchell's forces are containing them. Jake looked at the tactical display. The Zephyrian fleet had spread out around Earth trying to surround the planet. They had learned that human ships were dangerous when they could attack from unexpected directions, so they were trying to eliminate all possible hiding places. War leader Thaxron was frustrated and angry. He had expected to conquer Earth in 3 hours. Instead, the humans had been fighting for almost a week. His superiors were sending angry messages demanding to know why such a primitive species was causing so many problems. "How many ships have we lost?" Thaxron asked his tactical officer. 112 ships destroyed, war leader. 43 more are damaged and cannot fight effectively. Thaxron's claws scraped against his command chair. "How is this possible? Their technology is hundreds of years behind ours. Their ships are like toys compared to our warships. War leader, they do not fight like any species in our database. They use tactics that our strategic computers say are impossible. They sacrifice their own ships to damage ours. They attack from directions that should be suicide runs." On Earth's surface, Colonel Brad Mitchell was coordinating the defense of North America from his mobile command post. The Zephyrians had landed troops in Canada, Mexico, and the eastern United States. But human forces were making them pay for every mile they advanced. "Alpha Company, this is command," Brad spoke into his radio. "Enemy armor column approaching your position. Execute Plan Wolverine." Captain Sandra Lee responded from her hidden position in the ruins of Denver. "Copy, command. Wolverine is go." The Zephyrian ground forces expected to face human armies in traditional formations. Instead, they found themselves fighting ghosts. Human soldiers would appear from sewers, subways, and hidden bunkers, destroy an enemy vehicle or position, then vanish before the aliens could respond. The turning point came when Dr. Amy Foster made a crucial discovery. She had been studying captured Zephyrian technology for 6 days, looking for any weakness that could be exploited. What she found was better than a weakness. She found a fatal flaw. "Admiral Morrison, please come to the science lab immediately," Amy said over the intercom. Her voice was excited despite her exhaustion. Jake found Amy surrounded by computer screens showing Zephyrian ship designs and communication patterns. "What have you found, Amy?" "Sir, I have been analyzing their fleet coordination systems. The Zephyrians use a networked command structure that allows them to coordinate hundreds of ships perfectly. It makes them very efficient in battle." "And?" Jake asked, though he could see from Amy's expression that she had found something important. "The system has a critical vulnerability. All of their ships are connected to a central command vessel through subspace communication links. If we can destroy or disable the command ship, the entire fleet will lose coordination for several hours while they establish new command protocols." Jake studied the data on Amy's screens. "How do we identify the command ship?" "I have been tracking their communication patterns. The command ship is the large vessel in the center of their formation. It is heavily defended, but if we could get close enough, we would need to punch through their entire defensive screen," Jake said. "It would be a suicide mission." Amy nodded grimly. "Yes, sir. But it might be the only way to save Earth." Jake returned to the bridge and called together his remaining ship commanders. When their faces appeared on the communication screen, he could see the same exhaustion and determination that he felt. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have one chance to end this battle. Dr. Foster has identified a weakness in their command structure, but exploiting it will require a direct assault on their flagship. I will not order anyone to participate in this mission." Commander Nicole Grant was the first to respond. "Admiral, Phoenix Squadron volunteers for the mission." Captain Mike Torres of the destroyer Courage nodded. "The Courage is ready, sir." One by one, every remaining ship commander volunteered. Jake felt proud and heartbroken at the same time. These people were willing to die to save their planet. "All ships converge on the Zephyrian command vessel," Jake ordered. "This is our last chance. Make it count." The final assault began with the remaining human ships charging directly at the center of the Zephyrian formation. The aliens were shocked by this apparent suicide attack, but they quickly began concentrating their firepower on the approaching humans. The first wave of human ships was destroyed within minutes, but they had accomplished their mission. They had cleared a path through the outer defenses and damaged several major warships. The second wave, led by Jake Morrison in the Terra Defiant, pressed the attack. "All weapons fire at will," Jake commanded as his ship shook under enemy fire. "Target their command ship. Do not stop shooting until we are destroyed, or they are." The Terra Defiant took hit after hit, but its crew kept fighting. When the main guns were destroyed, they used missile launchers. When the missile launchers were damaged, they used emergency weapons. When those failed, Captain Adams rammed the ship into a Zephyrian cruiser that was blocking their path. Nicole Grant led the surviving fighters in a desperate charge at the enemy flagship. Her Phoenix squadron had started the war with 12 ships. Now only 3 remained, but they pressed their attack with the fury of humanity itself. "Phoenix leader to all units," Nicole said over the radio, as enemy fire tore through her fighter's hull. "Remember why we fight. For Earth, for freedom, for the future." Her ship exploded just as her final missile struck the Zephyrian command vessel. The enemy flagship's shields failed and human weapons poured through the gap. War leader Thaxron felt his ship shaking as human weapons found their target. "Damage report!" "War leader, command and control systems are failing. We are losing communication with the fleet." Thaxron watched in horror as his perfectly coordinated fleet began to fall apart. Without central command, individual ship captains did not know what to do. Some tried to continue the attack. Others attempted to withdraw. Most simply stopped moving while their crews tried to figure out what was happening. "This is impossible," Thaxron said. "How can such a small fleet cause so much damage?" His tactical officer looked up from his ruined console. "War leader, they are not fighting to win. They are fighting to hurt us as much as possible before they die. Our strategic computers cannot understand this type of warfare." Jake Morrison watched from the damaged bridge of the Terra Defiant as the Zephyrian fleet lost cohesion. Ships that had moved in perfect formation for 6 days were now scattered and confused. "All remaining units, press the attack while they are disorganized," Jake ordered. The few surviving human ships struck at isolated enemy vessels that could no longer coordinate their defenses. In 30 minutes, they destroyed more Zephyrian ships than they had in the previous 6 days. Thaxron realized that his invasion had failed. He had lost over half his fleet to a species that should have been helpless. His military career was over, and the Empire would want to know how he had been defeated by primitives. "Signal the fleet," he ordered reluctantly. "We are withdrawing from this system. War leader, the Empire will not understand." "How do we explain this failure?" Thaxron looked at the tactical display showing the wreckage of his once mighty fleet. "We tell them the truth. We tell them that humans do not fight like any species we have encountered. They are willing to die for abstract concepts like freedom and honor. They sacrifice themselves to save others. They never surrender, even when defeat is certain." As the surviving Zephyrian ships fled the Sol system, Jake Morrison addressed the combined human forces. "People of Earth, today we proved that humanity belongs among the stars. We did not choose this war, but we finished it. The galaxy now knows that Earth stands for freedom, and we will defend that freedom against any enemy." The victory at Sol sent shockwaves throughout the galaxy. Within months, both the Galactic Federation and the Zephyrian Empire were requesting diplomatic relations with Earth. The species that had refused to fight in someone else's war had proven they were the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy. President Helen Carter addressed the United Nations after the battle. "We did not want to enter the Galactic War, but when war came to us, we showed the universe what it means to be human. We stand ready to defend freedom wherever it is threatened. Earth had won its place among the stars not through conquest, but through courage. The age of human expansion had begun."